Hello, I need help. I have developed severe health anxiety and I can't get out of this cycle of physical symptoms and tests. Something is constantly wrong with me. Something goes away and a new one starts. And again, doctors do tests. The problem is that I don't feel well. I am skeptical about psychotherapy, but I am willing to try.
First things first, to the person who wrote this, and honestly, to anyone out there listening who feels this way, I need you to hear this loud and clear. What you are experiencing is real. It's not just in your head. The feelings, the physical symptoms, that bone-deep exhaustion, it is all completely and totally valid. So let's just take a breath together and try to understand what's really going on here.
I feel unwell, but why?
Yeah, you've described it perfectly. This exhausting cycle, right? You feel sick, you go for tests, and you get nothing. No clear answers. And that is incredibly frightening. And gosh, it can feel so lonely. Okay, let's really dive into this.
Let's get this out of the way right now because it is maybe the most important thing to hear. You are not crazy, and you're definitely not making it up. This isn't about imaginary symptoms. Health anxiety creates real physical sensations in your body. And of course those feelings are going to make you search for answers. That's a totally normal, understandable thing to do.
So, this feeling you're in, it really is a kind of trap. But here's the good news. It's a classic trap, one we actually understand really well. And once you can see how the trap is built, you can start to see the way out. So let's break it down, step by step.
Okay, so here's how it usually goes. It starts with something small, a real physical feeling, a little twinge, a headache, maybe you just feel off. But then comes the thought, and it's an alarming one. Uh-oh, what if this is something serious? And bam, your anxiety just shoots through the roof. Your body goes into full-on danger mode. And guess what? That danger mode creates more symptoms. Your heart starts racing, your muscles get all tight. So you go get tests. And for a little while, you feel relieved. But it never lasts, does it? Because then a new symptom shows up and that whole vicious cycle starts all over again.
So what's at the heart of all this? It's not your imagination, I promise. It's a state we call hypervigilance. Think of it this way. Your nervous system is basically stuck in the on position. It's on constant high alert, scanning your body for any sign of danger. It's like having a smoke detector that's way too sensitive. It's not just going off for a real fire, it's screaming its head off because you slightly burned a piece of toast.
And here's something that might actually bring a little bit of clarity, because it addresses a really common fear. You see, with a serious illness, the symptoms usually follow a pretty consistent pattern. They get worse or they evolve, but they stick around. But with health anxiety, well, the symptoms tend to jump around. They're migratory. One week it's a terrifying chest pain, the next it's a splitting headache, then it's a stomach issue. That very pattern, the hopping symptoms, is actually a huge clue that we're looking at anxiety.
And this brings us right back to the most important truth here. You genuinely feel unwell. The point of all of this isn't to say your pain isn't real. Oh my gosh, no, it is absolutely real. The goal is just to understand why it's happening, to find the real source, even when all the medical tests are coming back clear. And let's be super clear about how this works physiologically. Chronic anxiety isn't just some abstract feeling. It does real things to your body. It can mess with your breathing, making you feel dizzy. It can wreak havoc on your stomach and make your heart race. It keeps your muscles clenched tight, which is why you have all those aches and pains. It just completely exhausts your nervous system. See? This isn't just in your head. It is physically happening in your body. And this quote, it just hits the nail on the head. You start to live in your own body as if it's a dangerous place. It stops feeling like your home and starts feeling like this sick organism that could betray you at any moment. You just can't trust it anymore. And that feeling, that's right at the core of all this pain.
Now, you also mentioned being skeptical about psychotherapy. And you know what? I get it. That is 100% normal. It makes perfect sense. When your body is screaming at you, when the problem feels so intensely physical, the idea that just talking about it could help, yeah, that can seem pretty irrelevant.
This is the big question, isn't it? How can just talking help my body when it's my body that's suffering? Right? If my muscles are aching and my heart is pounding, how on earth are words going to fix that? It's a totally fair and logical question.
And here's the answer. Good therapy, the right kind of therapy for this, it doesn't ignore what's happening in your body at all. In fact, it does the exact opposite. It works directly with that mind-body connection. The whole point is to get in there and work on the very system that's generating all these symptoms. It's like we're retraining that super sensitive smoke alarm we talked about.
And there are some really effective, proven ways to do this. There's something called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, which is great for helping you catch and challenge those scary, worst-case scenario thoughts that keep the cycle going. And then there are somatic therapies, which are amazing because they work directly with your nervous system through the body itself, helping it to settle down and find its way back to calm.
So, while finding a professional is a really important step, I want to leave you with a few things you can start doing, like right now. Small, but really powerful actions you can take to start breaking this cycle and taking back a little bit of control.
Okay, here are your first steps. Number 1, for now, try to put a pause on seeking out new medical tests. Unless, of course, a doctor is insisting on one. Number 2, and this one is a biggie, you have to limit searching for symptoms online. It's like pouring gasoline on a fire. Just try to stop. Number 3, shift your focus. Instead of watching the symptoms, start watching the anxiety. Just notice, when I get anxious, my headache gets worse. See what happens. And finally, when you're ready, look for a therapist who really gets this stuff. Someone who specializes in anxiety and this mind-body connection.
Please know you are so far from alone in this struggle. There really is a path forward. You can get out of this loop, but the way out isn't found in one more scan or one more blood test. The exit is through gently, patiently, and compassionately restoring a sense of safety and calm to your nervous system. That is where the true healing really begins.